seems we keep getting left alone, Ren. I'm not sure if we've scared John off or what's happening, but it's just you and I again today.
The lack of supervision by Jonathan Goodman is both appalling and disgusting. I'm ashamed to be a member of this organization, but I'm also enjoying the fact that he's not here. Did you check out my all black long sleeve Jonathan Goodman shirt today?
Yeah, you're 2-in-1 today. Part John, part Ren.
Part Ren. Only the best parts of me though,
Yes.
and the one good part of John, which is that he has black shirts.
Yes.
That's about it.
Exactly.
That's about all I got for him. So what was he on the moon? I hear him and Allison are on the moon today, crafting burritos.
You know more than I do. I had no idea. I just knew he wasn't coming.
Cheese made from the milk suckled from a whale's teat in Argentina or something. That's how stories always start. So one time, Allison and I,
couple activities.
We were suckling a whale's teat in Argentina to make Argentinian cheese, and that's when I got the idea for my third book.
That's 100% a story John would tell. I wouldn't even be surprised.
It wouldn't be a surprise. I call the book Teats Up. Whales and minnows. That's it.
Oh my God.
Shout out to John.
Well, I'm going to awkwardly transition here. So
there you go. You're welcome.
Thank you. I thought it would be fun for us to talk about like the things we wish someone would have told us. Like I was having a conversation with a friend the other day about like there are just certain things that when you become a parent that nobody tells you about. Like they tell you about how tired you're going to be and all this stuff and like how hard it is, but there's all this good stuff too. But then there's like this little nuanced shit that no one tells you about, and then you're kind of angry that nobody mentioned it.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be fun for us to do that, but for starting your own online coaching business.
This is a good topic because I think that I know that we did because like when you and I started online training, Amber, like basically it wasn't even a thing. Like people couldn't conceptualize what you were trying to tell them when you said, "Yeah, I'm an online personal trainer." It's like, what does that even mean? Now I think it's gotten, like most things because of social media, it's gotten idealized, right? Like entrepreneurship. So people think, oh, I'm going to become an online coach and it's going to solve all my issues. I'm going to make millions of dollars and I'll always do it by the beach with my laptop because that's what online training means. And it's not as glamorous as some may think. It's a shitstorm of it's a shitstorm of calamities. No, it's not that bad, but
no,
there's
some things,
some stuff. A couple things happen. When Amber announced to me, podcast listeners and or viewers, that we would talk about this, I started to write in my special notepad, which is reserved for Amber Reynolds' request. I finally filled in the first page of that notepad because it's the first thing she's asked me to do that I've ever done. But so I jotted down some things, and Amber knows some things, and I'm just gonna follow. I'm gonna follow your lead here, Amber. You just tell me, say stuff, and then you like just poke me with a stick and say, do something where you want me to talk, and otherwise I'll just sit here quietly, mimicking Jonathan.
We'll compare notes and see where we both had the same thought and where we have different ideas. But the first biggest thing that I didn't realize was how lonely it was going to be.
Yes.
That was a big slap in the face.
Man, I didn't even write that down. I didn't even think as I was thinking, I think I thought more logistic. Well, this matches our personality type.
This
right?
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I like leaving it broad.
I think I thought more logistically, and I didn't even think like sort of emotionally, experientially, if that's a word. But dude, you're at a desk all day, and there are no coworkers. Like there's nobody to, and I get distracted. I don't know. Well, yes, I do know this answer. I get distracted by that. That was bullshit. Listening audience, I was about to tell an absolute lie. I do know that Amber gets distracted. She lives in a
all the
place of
time.
distraction. That's her home. But do you find that you get like super distracted because there's not like it's not real, it's lonely. It's like how does that show up for you, Amber? How does that loneliness
Well, you kind of
just
always chasing that excitement, so you
right?
do tend to bounce around a lot. And because
Yeah.
like when you work on the same thing for a little bit and you don't have anyone to talk to, like your hormone levels just kind of dive down, and then you're craving any sort of
Idiot.
stimulation, and you're like, oh my
Right.
god, somebody pinged me, yes,
Right.
yes. Or like random ideas kind of pop, but you don't have anyone to tell, and that's the thing. And so when you
This is
have these ideas, like at like a normal job, you have other people to kind of talk them out with. And so you
right.
can kind of quickly, like, if I say this out loud, oh, I said it out loud, that sounded really stupid, where it
Right.
sounded okay in my head. So like I end up, and I still do this, like do stupid things because I didn't have the opportunity to voice it out loud, because there's a difference saying it in your head than actually letting it
It's
leave your
so
mouth.
true. Because I've said things, I've posted things that I haven't said aloud, and I
Mm-hmm.
posted to me like, "Oh, that's stupid." Like this, it sounded different when I was thinking through it, but looking
Yeah.
at it on a quote card, or worse yet, hearing it on a reel, like I
Yes.
can't post this. But it's so funny. It's like film noir, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here at the table on my fourth program. I light a match and let it burn down to my finger just to feel something. I don't know where I am, and I don't know who I am. Like that's what
Yep.
it's like
It's a
being
little
in online.
self-destructive.
It's a little self destructive. You're like, man, that's so good. I would have never thought of. I know that, and I experienced it, but I would have never thought of that. I'm so glad you
But like,
brought that up. Man,
but
that's
when the good
awesome.
stuff happens too, right? Like you have no one to really celebrate with.
There's
And so like you're like, yes, I hit, whatever followers, or I got a new client, or they renewed, whatever. You have no one to tell, or nobody that's going to get it like how you feel it.
nope.
You'll tell a family member, they're like, "Oh, good for
Oh,
you." And then
good,
it's like,
great, good
well,
job.
that just poked a bubble.
Yeah.
Poked my bubble.
Oh,
Um,
somebody signed up for your thing. Oh, good.
yeah,
How
cuz they
you
just
well
don't
you
understand.
they don't nobody understands because nobody's there to understand. It
Mhm.
is absolutely isolating, and that's as mentors in the online trainer academy. I think that's one of the most overlooked facets of having a one-to-one mentor. You've got somebody that you can download to, good or bad, right? So you get to,
Mhm.
when you tell us, I went 4 for 5 on enrollment calls. We really get it, and we care, and we want to celebrate it with you, because the people around you, they just don't get it. Like they just don't
Mhm.
understand, and it's really really lonely. Man, that's so good.
What have
So
you done to
here's
kind of counteract that for you?
yeah yeah. I don't know. So one thing that counteracts that for me, a few things. Number one, honestly, this podcast, because I know that when the three of us get together, or the two of us, which is much better, I know that when we get together, uh, I'm going to be in a space where people understand what I'm doing all day, um, and are more receptive to it. There's
Mhm.
affirmation in our discussions here on the podcast too, because we're always shaking our heads up and down. Yes, because
Yeah.
we're very familiar with the set of circumstances. The other thing for me is being a mentor in the online trainer
Mhm.
academy, because I get to live vicariously through the students who are sharing their victories or sharing their loneliness. And then the third thing for me is any points of contact with clients, right? So I know that at some point I'm going to get to have like a 15-minute call with some of my clients. I know that at some point, and I have clients who are also coaches, right? So a lot
Mhm.
of my clients are actually coaches, and I coach them for fitness. And quite a few recently I've sent to OTM. My clients, I've sent them to OTM to get more business stuff, because I try not to do that on my clients. I don't like to blur those lines. Um,
Sure.
but having clients is also super fun that are coaches, because they kind of get it too.
Yeah.
So that helps me through that loneliness, and it helps me have somebody to celebrate with. They don't care so much how well I'm doing, obviously, but like, yeah, I know I paid you, Ren. Yeah, good job, way to go.
Yeah.
You suckered me in, Ren. But having someone to communicate with on a weekly basis is good. It's important to have clients kind of for your own sanity, right? Just to
Mm-hmm.
again, just to feel something, feel something, anything.
You're so Gen X.
but
That's such a Gen X thing to say.
but that's
Just want to feel
but
something.
but serious, that's it's the truth. Oh my God, it's just like you to. I had no thoughts about that part of this business at all. Out of 7 things, pretty much everything that I have here is tactical or logistic.
So we'll go back and forth. So
All right, yeah,
we'll
go
do
back and forth.
the
So
deep feeling part with me, and then you'll
that's
do
right.
the analytical brain.
In terms of that, one of the things that I wrote down here that I didn't understand when I came in is to be rigid in my process, right? The overall business stuff, like how I enroll, how I intake, how I communicate with clients during the course of the process, but to be much more flexible in my programming. That was a problem for me when I started because I was a trainer and I was right and I knew how to solve your problem and you should listen
Yep.
to me. So I was very rigid in my programming. Ren, I like to do this thing. Is there a way that I could do that? And I would literally say no. And now I
Oh.
realize it kind of it's not as important as you think it might be going into an online training process. What is important is your process because people need to see there has to be for you as a coach, for you not to go crazy. There
Mm-hmm.
kind of has to be a standardized way that you connect with people, a standardized way that you uh, audition or enroll people. It's got to be a standard way that you deliver programs, a standard timeline that you expect clients to do certain things, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be able to thoroughly help your client base, your group of clients, but also you've got to first consider the human in front of you in terms of how you relate to programming. The help that you actually give needs to be a lot more flexible because I'm probably bleeding into another point here, but because people don't stay because of the empirical data. They don't stay because of the connection to what they said they want their goal to be and them achieving the goal. They kind of stay because of the overall experience that they're having. Like that becomes so
Mm-hmm.
much more important. So nobody told me up front that, hey Ren, loosen up with your programming, dude. Like
Yep.
if if she wants to run instead of doing hit, even though it's not optimal, let her say, oh, you know
Run.
what? You should run on Thursday. That sounds awesome. Like that was hard for me to come by. And I butted a lot of heads early on in my process, early on in being an online coach, because I was so freaking just I was just awful about the the actual programming. I was such a tyrant about the programming because I wanted everything to be optimal and you're you're going to have a lonelier road as an online coach if you're just always fighting back and forth about the programming. Um,
Yep.
that
See, I
was
was the
important for me.
opposite. I had no like
Really?
bound. Yeah, so I had the exact opposite. I was like, okay, let's do it. You want to do that? Cool, whatever. But without giving enough actual guidance. So it's kind of like bowling, right? Like when you take your kid bowling, they need the bumpers.
Yeah.
But some people throw right-handed, some people throw, left-handed and
Yeah.
different hand positions and you start your feet at different places. The bumpers are there to keep them towards hitting the pins. But like there's
Yes.
some wiggle room about where you stand and how you throw, right? And
Right.
so like it's finding that balance. So
That
if we
wiggle
would have
room.
teamed up early on, we would have been a great coach together.
Like do whatever you want. Well, Amber said
Yes.
I can do whatever I
I'll
want.
support you. I was just a cheerleader early on. I was just,
I was
that's about all I
so
did.
not that. I was, and I only had one cert at that time, right? So I knew everything. I had one
Yep.
CPT, certified personal trainer through NASM, and I knew everything that there was to know about fitness. And I was unwilling to bend because I felt like there was a clear wrong or right way to do this, and I think that prevents a lot of coaches from getting started, and I think that's one of the tributaries that feeds into the river of imposter syndrome, right?
Yep.
There's a wrong way. I don't want to give them the wrong program. That doesn't exist, right? It just.
Yep.
I mean, rare cases. You're Eric Cressy working with Major League Baseball players. Okay, there's a right program and a wrong program.
Yeah.
Most of us are working with Susie, who just got off work and is rushing to get home because she's got to prepare dinner and she's overwhelmed by all the things, or Daniel, who got bullied when he was in college and remembers that, and he just wants to get stronger. Like in those cases, the rigid nature of your programming probably doesn't serve your business. And I didn't know that going in. And I think about all the clients it cost me permanently now that I think back to it. And hey, sorry, ladies. Call me.
Best I could. Yeah, call me. I think that leads really well into my next one, was how much you realize what a hypocrite you are at one point. Because, like, when we love fitness, we're like, well, you just got to get up and you just got to set a schedule and da-da-da-da-da. Consistency is key and all of this stuff. But when it comes to our business, we struggle with all of the same things our clients struggle with.
Yes.
And so, like, that kind of holier than thou attitude that we start off with, or at least I know I started off with.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I'm a little embarrassed now looking back, like, oh wow, I was such a hypocrite.
Because you miss things in your business, man. Like you're I feel awful when I miss something, especially when it pertains to a client. I've never seen a process tight enough to never miss anything. Like there's just not. There's too many humans, and it's so appropriate how touchy feely your side of this conversation is. Because again, this is something that I know to be true, and I've experienced it. I just didn't think about it because my brain just sort of doesn't work that way. But there's a level of hypocrisy that you need to expect as an online trainer, because you're going to want your clients to have their ducks in a row, and you're going to tell them that as you're chasing your own ducks through the street. Wondering what the hell am I doing today? Like, I've got nothing laid out the way it's supposed to. This is chaos, and then you button it up for the client when you have a conversation with them. And you're right, there is a certain amount of it's uniquely challenging to maintain all the things that we want to maintain as coaches, as professionals. And it's challenging because there's humans on the other side, right? And humans just don't line up the way that you want them to. They never, at best, if you got 10 clients, you might have 6 to 8 doing what you want. But that other 2, it didn't go as deep as 8 the other way, right? You will never have everything operating exactly the way that you want it to. And you'll pretend like they should. And it's that's so interesting that you brought that up, Amber.
Well, because even like how clients are constantly jumping from like thing to thing, coaches do the exact same thing.
Yes.
Right. If I don't see instant results, it means it's not working.
Yes.
Same thing in your business.
Yes.
So it's like all of the things we get mad at our clients for, we totally do, just in a different arena.
Man, listeners out there, particularly, of course, coaches, raise your hand if you made your way from PT Distinction to Trainerize, and that didn't work well, so you went to PT Hub, and then you went to Train, and now you're on Quick Coach, which is an excellent solution, by the way. You should go to Quick Coach; it'll solve all your problems. But we all do. In the same week, I will tell my clients, you know, stick and stay with one thing, let it play out, don't jump around to different things. And I've gone from PayPal to Stripe to Moonglow to like, you know, uh, I'm like, all these fees. But one thing has the one thing that I need, but it doesn't have the other. And it's so easy to panic as a business person in the same breath that you're telling your clients to trust the process, right? And you've gone through 3 processes that day for a lot of different things. There is a level you just gotta eat that hypocrisy. You gotta be okay with understanding that uh, you're just a couple of hypocrites paired together.
Yep, exactly. And it's okay.
It's
It's good
okay.
to realize so that way, like for me, like I can get very like uppity about things, especially when I think I know I'm right.
Yeah.
And so it really calmed my ass down once I realized I was doing the things I was bitching about. You know, it's like, oh,
It's like the
okay, well, it's fine.
Spider-Man
It's
meme
fine.
with the 3
Yeah,
Spider-Man all
yeah,
pointing at each
exactly.
other. That's what
100%.
it is. We're all doing the same thing here. That's so
Yep,
interesting. That's why coaches need coaches, by the way.
exactly.
That's a good point to slip into. I'm gonna go. Can I go? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go.
Yep, you go.
It's my turn. Let's
Is it
see.
my turn?
Oh, this is something that I didn't. Man, I didn't really. I had a conversation about this with John early on, coming out of OTA level 1. You know, people don't tell you that regardless of how good a coach you are, how solid the program is, how well you explain things, everything you do on your end, people are going to ghost. There's just not a coach good enough for people not to drip. Somebody's not going to check in. Somebody's going to do a workout and then they're going to fill in their information in whatever app you use. You're going to have a check in, and some people are not going to check in regularly. You'll have processes in place, and people will skip through them. And there's really not much you can do because you're not their parent, right? You will want to parent your clients so badly, particularly when you have some self assurance that, man, what I'm giving you would absolutely change your life if you did it. You'll explain it. You'll take it down to Amber says those BAMs, those bare ass minimums, and think I've solved it. Like I'm offering you the best, simplest, easiest, most glorious way to get everything you need in life out of this program. And you'll set calls and people won't show up. People are going to drift, and you can't parent them. And when I talked to John about this early on, this is one of the first kinks in my armor as an online coach. I was crying to John, I got this stuff and people aren't checking in and I'm failing everybody. I got like 4
Yep.
clients and 2 of them they never check in.
It feels like a personal affront.
It's
They
personal.
hate me. They don't think this is worth
Oh
it.
my God. It's so, you take it so personally. On one end, you feel like they've reduced they've reduced the level of importance in their mind in terms of who you are. But on the other end, you feel like I took somebody's money and now I'm failing them. And what John had to tell me early on, and obviously we had this conversation via Messenger because John has made it clear that I'll never have his phone number. But in the Messenger conversation, which is my restricted point of access to Jonathan Goodman, he said, "Hey, you don't know if that person is exercising more than they used to just because they told their friends they hired a trainer." He said, "You don't know that they're eating differently just because they're exercising now." He said, "You don't know that they're not actually doing the program. Maybe they're just the type of person that's not good at typing in the reps and sets into your app." He said, "So what your job is to do exactly what you promised you would do at the days and times that you said it was going to happen, and make sure that they know what's available to them, because you'll never be able to make everybody do anything. And no matter what your client base is, what your population, this is me now, this John didn't say this, no matter what your client base is, what your population is, how much you charge, you are invariably going to have people that just they drift and they ghost, and you got to try your best to let them know that you're Hey, I noticed I haven't seen you. How can I support you? What can I do? I want to make sure you have success. Um, that's what you can do that, and you can make sure what you said was going to be available is available to them. And you really kind of got to try to let it go because it's certainly not a personal thing, but
Stop
it
telling
feels
yourself
like it.
stories.
Yeah, yeah.
I had this with a student the other day. She sent me a message and she's like, she was so excited because she had booked a call for a new client and then they didn't show up. I'm like, I know what you're about to do. Don't do it. It has nothing to do with you. Send a message, make sure she's okay.
That's right. That's all
And
you
so
can
she
do.
was really anxious and sad. And then she finally heard back. She's like, I just forgot to put it in my calendar. I'm like, see, I told you it wasn't you.
The stories are the worst. The stories are the worst. They perpetuate. Like somebody doesn't show up, you get an old school typewriter out, and you're George R. R. Martin. You know, you're about to write a complete set of novels, fictional novels about what just took
The
place.
Red Wedding.
Right, just Red Wedding, and it's so easy to do, and it's so ironic. We rarely tell ourselves stories like, oh, 6 people are about to sign up this month. I can feel it, right? Like we only tell ourselves horror stories. Like we're all horror writers when it comes to our business. If we can't figure out what's going on, man, those stories start quick, and people are just gonna people, man. That's people. Sometimes it's not always about us. But I used to be so frustrated when people didn't. Again, this is sort of my mo as early on as a trainer. I'm like a parent with like the 5th kid now. Like you put that kid in the pocketbook for all I care. Like I don't care. Let him eat the dirt. There's minerals in it. Like I just. But early on,
it's good for your immune system.
Yeah, it's good for your immune system. It'll button up that immunity, buddy. Get another pile of dirt. So what was I saying? But it's so hard early on because everything feels so personal. It sucks, actually.
It really does.
It sucks.
The emotional roller coaster because you're already at a point where you're like questioning whether anybody would ever pay you to begin with.
Right.
And then as soon as you have one small thing happen, you're like, see, I fucking knew it.
That's it.
Like,
I knew it.
Despite all of the good progress that has happened, it all gets erased because one person didn't show up on a phone call. And so it's just so
and then they text you.
Can't. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, I slipped my mind. And all's restored with your world.
Yeah.
What do you got next? Take us back to touchy feely. That was kind of my touchy feely one though. That was emotional.
Yeah, it was also on my list. That was our first crossover.
Oh, nice. So jackpot. So what did we get? Like, what do I get, a score or something? How does Boggle work?
Hey, I sent you a reward chart not that long ago, but you used all your stickers and stuff.
All right, okay, that's enough then. Thank you for that.
Yeah, that's all you get. You're welcome. The other one that I thought that came up a lot for me was that nobody cares, but like in a good and bad way, right? Like nobody's going to care about your baby like you do, right? Like
True.
You just can't expect that. But like on the good side, it means you have opportunity to play instead of feeling like, oh my God, I do this thing, it's set in stone and I can't ever do anything. And nobody's paying attention like you think they are.
Yes.
When you feel embarrassed or whatever, like I'm guilty. I've said it before. Like when we first started the podcast, I would blush, right? Like my face was constantly tomato red. When I would post on social media, nobody's around me. I would literally flush full on entire face, chest red because I was embarrassed before anything had ever happened. Right. But like nobody cares.
They don't.
And nobody remembers, and so like
never.
But it's a good thing. But also know that nobody cares like you do. So you have to set your expectations like to the size of a limbo stick for ants from others. Like you can't expect friends and family to, share everything and whatever, because there's nobody cares.
Did you say a limbo stick for ants? Is that what you said?
Yeah. That's how low the bar should be.
That's awesome. I've stolen that. That's perfect. A limbo stick for ants. So this is something that I've learned to go over early with USP with our coaching students. For those out there that haven't gone through Online Trainer Academy, talking about a unique selling proposition. And that's where we try to help people figure out what's unique about them and their business and their process, how they can inject some individuality and some authenticity into it. And oftentimes people will, you know, they'll try to find something that will be a permanent solution on day one of building their business. And we tell them, hey, you get to change it. And I've learned to address the fact that if you said today that you work with post-menopausal women who want to train for their first endurance race, and then 2 days from now you said I work with 25-year-old guys who want to bulk up, nobody will know the difference. As a matter of fact, not only will nobody know the difference, the same person will comment, I love that you're working with this population. And 2 days later, that same person will comment, oh, I love that you're working with this population. Because the internet's short attention span
10
theater.
second Tom.
People don't remember from one day to the next. And as Amber so eloquently said, people really don't care. Like they just really don't care. So you're being overly assumptive that the whole world is watching, right? We all got up this morning wondering who's Thomas working with today, right? That didn't happen. Tom, sorry, buddy. We don't care from the most honest, giving, nurturing place. It's not like we don't care. Like nobody cares about you. I'm busy. I gotta get groceries. My show's on. The kids are crying. What's going on? Oh, Thomas is working with teenage guys that want to bulk up. That's awesome. I got like.
We're background characters in everybody else's life,
yes.
and not like an NPC for most people. Like we don't even register.
The controls don't work on us.
We're a delightful cameo. Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't.
We're just walking by in the background, dude. We're the fish market in the background on Street Fighter 2, right? Like it's like Hayabusa, a bison fighting Ken. We're the people throwing fish in the background. We don't care that there's a guy flying through the air shooting light bulbs. We care less.
I think I remember somebody doing something in the back. I don't know.
You're just gonna throw fish back here while you guys fight. Spinning style kick. That's so true. All right, I got another one, Amber. Are we ready for another one?
Go for it.
Yeah, let's see this. Oh, this will be an I've got my first unpopular opinion one, Amber.
Ooh, I love it.
Salespeople are gonna hate me for saying this. And I'm an old sales dog, so I almost hate me for saying this. But when people want to leave, let them go, right? Like, just because man, I mean, it's hard for somebody to say, I don't think I think I'm going to try something else, right? And sure, hey, I get it. I went through OTM. I used to be an insurance salesperson. I understand objections and rebuttals. Like I get it. Mm-hmm. I understand. When you got to make somebody say no 3 times or 7 times, or when they say no, they're just saying it's not enough information yet, right? I know all the sales verbiage and systems, but when somebody wants to quit, what I've found is I used to mess it up, right? Because I just, let's get on a phone call and talk a little bit more about your goals and what you like to achieve and, what's changed. And I get that. I understand it. It's solid sales advice. I get it. I have benefited so much from saying, Amber, I completely understand. If you feel like you're ready to go, then I'm ready to support you. Great job while you were here. You're always welcome to come back here. I'm happy to work with you at any point. Because you know what I found? In my case, at least, 60 to 70% of those people, they make their way back around. And you know why? Because you're an awesome, compassionate coach who is probably giving them more individualized attention than they've ever gotten. And you probably spoil them. And I try to spoil the shit out of my clients. Like, if you leave me, I'm wondering where are you going, right? I'm full on 90s R&B breakup song. Like nobody's gonna treat you the way that I did. I'm going. So sometimes, guys, just be nice. I think that too many people I think that too many people feel that the end of a relationship, even a business relationship, has to mimic a romantic relationship in the fact that if somebody's not angry at somebody, it shouldn't end. Like sometimes you just want to say, "Hey, you're a great person, and I'm a great person. We're not great together at the moment, man, but I wish you well. Thanks so much for being a kind, caring person. This just isn't working out." Letting your business relationship end with your clientele, what I found again is that more often than not, I would say 60 or 75% of my clients I've coached 2 to 3 times over the course of their lives because it feels like a safe space that they can return to, not a place that they remember ending in conflict. Sometimes, salespeople, you just say, "Hey, I get it. Thanks so much for being here. You're always welcome to come back. How can I support you as you make this transition?" If that's it,
Yep.
unpopular opinion.
That's why it irritates me so much when they're like, well, clients leaving and they can't take anything with them or whatever. I'm like, it's like the action movies where they throw the match behind them and shit blows up. Like, why are you doing that?
Let me tell you, I personally send PDFs of the workouts that we worked through together.
Yeah, they
I send graduation materials. I send a link I send a graduation package. It's not physical like my welcome kit,
yeah.
but I send a graduation kit to every single client virtually, just to let them know I appreciate the time that we had together. Right? It was, babe. It was a great weekend. We'll always have Poconos, right? Like, just just be nice about it. Like, you don't have to be an ass. And I think that people coming in don't get that because you're probably a little bit overly concerned with maybe people taking advantage of you out there, not being a diligent business person, not being uh, good at sales or getting them back. You want to go, sweetie.
Yeah.
You know,
It doesn't have that ego, right? Like it has nothing to do with you. Like chances are they just took on something that they do want to do,
yes,
but didn't realize how much effort it was going to take, and they
yes,
love it, but like now's not the right time.
it's not the right time.
Or something that they're not willing to share with you that you have no
That's right. It's not my business.
Right to have, and so like again, those stories that we tell ourselves because we think it's us and it's not 99% of the time. And then like the other thing is too, if you find that's happening a lot, then your pre-qualification process,
Yes,
there's something going on
yes,
in either who you're saying yes to or however you're setting expectations.
Mm-hmm. There's a clue there.
And so, yeah, exactly. So take it as a gift, take a look at that process, but like it's not you. Most likely it's just people are going to people
going people.
I like that one.
That's true.
Let's see so another one that I still struggle with, but I'll tell on myself, is that nothing is ever going to be ready. No matter how much you prepare, no matter how pretty it looks, no matter how well thought out it is, you're wrong.
Yes.
Because you spend so much time doing prep work that you're just taking, guesses.
You are so wrong.
You can take better educated guesses when you actually throw it out there into the universe and tell that just to roast me. I know, just roast me and I'll make something better next time.
Yes.
But we can't handle it emotionally. So we just kind of get stuck in tinkering phase before like letting people see it. And then we're so proud.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I don't want that shit because we built it for us and not for them.
Yeah, I want that.
I don't know how many times I've done that.
This is so important because you are so, whatever you're thinking up right now and you haven't showed it to anybody, you are so wrong. You are just you are just ridiculously, amazingly incorrect in what you're thinking right now. And you're gonna turn that, like Amber said, you're gonna turn that thing into the universe, and the universe is gonna hit you right in the face. Like,
but let it hit you sooner.
Yeah.
Right. If you're gonna get smacked
early
sooner. Yeah, instead of putting all this money because you're designing logos and whatever else,
dude.
let the universe give you the early smack so that way you can make better educated decisions going forward. And you're still going to make, mistakes or make wrong calls
No,
or whatever,
no question.
but fail fast
Please,
instead of like playing it out
please
really
don't
small.
put money behind it. Please don't. I,
Mm-hmm.
it turns from a smack to a kick in the gonads uh, if you put money behind it. I saw a
Mm-hmm.
coach. I don't remember if it was in the NASM group that I'm in or in the precision nutrition group, but I see a lot of business questions in both groups because it's not our group,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're business
Yeah.
specialists here. And the lady says she built a studio and can't get any clients. What should she do? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, you went to
Ouch.
your city or municipality or whatever county and got papers and construction and you built a studio. It's not Field of Dreams, lady. Like, you built a studio to see if clients would show up. Oh my God. Like, don't put money behind anything that you haven't gotten people involved in within reason, that you haven't
Yeah.
gotten people involved in yet, because that's a hard lesson. It's a hard lesson. And Amber, do you find that you're like, now I'm willing to try anything. Like, I'll throw a, hey, I'm going to do this. I need some volunteers. Who wants to try? Right? It's jacked up, but maybe you can help me fix it. Like,
Yep.
that's sort of my mentality now, knowing that speed sort of negates the mismatch. Like, if I don't have it right, quote unquote, it doesn't matter to me as much as it matters to me to get some humans to tell me as quickly as possible whether it's right or wrong. Like, I want to get there faster because you're sort of going to beat the market if you can do that. But I really don't want to contemplate an idea for business past like a week within reason. Like, eh, I want to get it out there as soon as possible because that's that's what's going to tell me whether I got something or not. And most people are going to wait. That's such a. I love the fact that you just blatantly said, "Hey, whatever you're thinking about, you're wrong."
You're wrong. And I say that because that's exactly who I am. And that's the mistakes I make. Now, I recognize when I'm doing it now.
Right.
And sometimes I still do it anyway because I want to. But then it's a different thing. I'm doing it because I'm making a conscious choice. I know this isn't the right choice, but I'm putting the helmet on and I accept
Right.
responsibility for what happens from here on out.
You get in, put on the helmet and get in the
Right, but I
cannon.
know that I'm doing it. Yeah, exactly. Then it's fine. So I've made progress.
Somebody, I'm
But
gonna
like,
climb in this cannon. Somebody hit the fuse. Got my
I'm
helmet
telling you.
on.
Yep. That's 100% it.
That's
And so sometimes like you make the decision, like getting a logo or a branding colors, whatever, like because it makes me happy. Right.
right.
It makes me happy and I'm investing in that. I'm not doing this for my business. And it's, recognizing that. But I've totally spent weeks of time dreaming up random ass like businesses. I have one. There's like a $6,000 dinosaur costume that's like realistic, and you climb inside, and it makes dinosaur noises and steam, and there's a video camera, and I want it so
Oh my
bad
gosh.
because I want to go around the neighborhood and like scare the neighbors. Because I'm trying to talk myself into it somehow.
Oh my
How can I
gosh.
justify this $6,000 dinosaur costume? So I built a business around it. Like I legitimately for weeks planned this out. Like, okay, what would I sell in order to make up the difference? So I
Oh.
thoroughly enjoy spending time on nonsense like that where you get, you're done after a week. I will spend way too much time on absolutely nonsense business
Oh.
ideas.
If they ever invent technology to let you read a person's mind with like a helmet, there's
Oh, that'd be
one
so
mind that I
bad.
clearly would never look in. Just go ahead and state that now because there's
It's
way too much going on in
it's
there.
messy. It's a little messy up in there.
I need you to write a blog, the $6,000 dinosaur costume. I need you to
It's
flesh this out. This is good short story material. That's amazing, but also worth
when I
it.
make fuck you money, I'm doing it.
Right, right. But it feels worth it to me. On the other hand, I feel like
Yeah.
could be kind of worth 6 G's if I had to spend on a
For the
dinosaur costume.
entertainment value.
Yeah,
Imagine going downtown and roaring at people and scaring the shit out of everyone.
that would be. I find a way to turn that into my full time job. I'd be
Oh yeah, I can give you the business plan. I
yeah.
got it.
Oh my god, this is awful. This is awful information. I never needed to know this, Amber. Uh, and yet I'm glad
Well,
that I do
that's
now.
what I specialize
After
in.
learning,
Yeah.
after learning, I'm glad that I know it. Let's see.
If I were to start that business, I wouldn't start with the $6,000
You work
costume.
your way
I would
up.
have to find a way to
Yeah,
start sooner.
yeah.
Yeah, a
Find a way to
different
start
way.
sooner. Just wear a T-shirt that says T-Rex on it. That's a good.
The T-shirt where you flip it up. It's like, ask me about my T-Rex, and you flip it up. And then your next step is the big one that people show up at their kids' school with to embarrass
Oh
them.
my gosh! You have to progressively overload that business.
Yeah,
This
exactly. You
is
can't
ridiculous.
just start with the $6,000 dinosaur costume.
You can't be left unattended again, John. By the way,
No,
just want to throw that out there.
no.
I've got another one. I don't think I don't know that I have one after this, but this is important because most of us are coaches, and we talk about the whales and minnows concept here, and John gives that example of the person who wants everyone to have toothbrushes and making money from people who can afford it, and then being able to supply the toothbrushes. But if you're underpaid, if you don't charge enough, right? If you're not paid what you're worth, really, you'll end up resenting your clients and you'll resent the industry. And that's an awful place to be. I wish someone would have told me that before I got into. I came into this business charging people $65 American per month. Now, so I can exonerate this fine institution of the Online Trainer Academy and the Personal Trainer Development Center. This was 2 years before there was an OTA. I started online, so nobody here taught me and said, "Ren, you know what a good price point is for all your work? $65 per month. You'll be wealthy before you know it."
Making like 73 cents an hour.
Right. Right.
Jesus.
I was making just enough money to send to those kids that they talk about on television who miss meals, and then missing meals myself. So I didn't understand it at first because a lot of us come into this business with sort of a sense of altruism or wanting to give, and when you don't, when you're creating programs, when you're talking to clients, when you're working them through things, and also you can't pay your rent in a timely fashion, you will start to hate your clients. You'll hate the business and you'll find your way out of the business. So please consider all the things that you're doing for a potential client. And I made this comment in some other group yesterday too. Spent a lot of time in groups last week. Someone was concerned about how much they should charge for online training. If you've been through the Online Trainer Academy, better yet, if you've been through OTM, you know that we sort of teach you to initially figure out what the value of your time is, right? We talk about that in OTA level 1 with the pricing calculator, like really sitting down and thinking about all the things that go into what you provide. And then in OTM, we sort of talk more about the value of what your client will become, right? That's what they're investing in at that point, just to raise your level of thinking. And a lot of us come from a time for money situation as coaches. And a lot of those numbers aren't really that great. And a lot of us think that online training initially is a step down from in person training because we feel like we're not spending our time with the client for the exchange of their money. Absolute wrong way to think. And that will cause you to undervalue your services. And that will cause you to get clients who are enthusiastic because your bargain basement prices initially, they won't show up. They won't adhere. They'll quit frequently. You won't have enough income to stay in business, and you'll hate everybody and you'll hate everything about this business. I wish someone would have told me that early. Had I not run into OTA in 2016 after having been an online trainer from 2014, I probably would not have been in business by back half of 2016 because I was drastically undercharging and I was hating everybody. Like, I hated everybody all the time. Don't do that to yourself.
Yep.
It's no bueno.
Trying to price things based on value is really hard. There's
It's
no
hard.
actual calculation to it, right? Like we can figure out what the floor is based on time, your investments, in delivering the service and whatever. But that's kind of the floor.
Yep.
And then there's, how much supply you can actually take on and then what it's worth to them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult to figure out. So I totally get the pushback, but yeah, I mean, I pay a stupid amount of money for like getting my hair done or like having certain like handyman. Like I could do it, but like, man, the amount of time and frustration and headaches and like, it's definitely gonna look better than if I do it. Like I cannot curl. I literally cannot curl my hair. I have watched so many YouTube videos and
YouTube fails.
I cannot do it. Yeah, I can figure out all sorts of tech stuff, but I swear to God, I cannot curl my own hair. And so, like, if I have like an event or something to go to, I have to go to my freaking hairdresser.
Yeah.
But instead of me like practically in tears trying to figure out how to curl my fucking hair, right? It's worth it just to let her do it when she knows how to do it. It's faster. It turns out better.
Right.
There's less stress and overwhelm and anxiety.
Yes.
The value is in all of that stuff. Plus, then I look great for the event.
Absolutely. Just
so
like a stress.
What I'm buying.
Right. That what you're actually buying is not a product. It's not a wash. It's not a cut. It's not a style. It's how you feel confidently walking into whatever the event is, whether it's an actual event, whether it's a date, whether it's photo shoot, anything. And when you have a skill at something, when you're skilled in a service, it's easy for you to lose track of the fact that it's not as easy for the people you're serving as it is for you. Because it seems like commonplace to you to eat 30 grams of protein, and it seems commonplace that, I want to build strength, so I'll reduce the amount of repetitions and I'll increase the weight to 80% of my one rep max. Like it all feels commonplace for
obvious.
You, so you devalue it. But all that time that you spent learning it and all the information you have, you're shortcutting the next human to expertise immediately. And that has value that I didn't see when I started, hence the $65. I mean, if I had a person working out 3 times a week over 4 weeks at 60, that's like $4.33 a session. That was, quite frankly, it was fucking stupid. I tried to work myself into the commercials for the 2 cents a day kids. I was like, if I shave, I could probably slip in this commercial unseen and maybe somebody will feed me. But I hated everything.
Can we have a moment of silence for our younger coach selves?
Absolutely.
I wish I could fake the sound of Latin and just like,
I was pitiful.
May you rest in peace, baby Coach Amber.
Right.
It's okay. You've gone to a better place.
Yes, gone to a better place. We graduated. We left this earthly plane.
Yeah.
What do we got? Right. Put a pin? Are we done?
That's it. I think that's it. Yeah. So I think we can recommend an episode, and I can go make lunch because I'm hungry.
Yeah, I didn't even miss what's his face. Keep forgetting his name.
It's fine.
James? I'm sorry. I can't remember. Go ahead.
It's okay. All right. So we'll recommend episode 148, Marketing Mistakes Great Coaches Make. Since we're talking about the mistakes that we made as our younger coach selves, may they rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Too much knowledge could be hampering you from making progress in sales and marketing. This is a presentation that Jonathan actually gave for the Sports Nutrition Association to help their coaches make better marketing decisions.
Oh, yeah, I heard it.
So hopefully you can, it was really good.
It was good.
So hopefully getting ahead of, again, kind of learning from the mistakes of others.
Yeah.
Like I did with my older sister. She made a ton of mistakes. I didn't have to make them. Thank you very much. Because I watched her. She took one for the team. So, you can do that, learn from mistakes from others so you can get ahead. So that's episode 148, marketing mistakes great coaches make. And that's it. We'll talk to
Nice.
y'all later.
Great show, Amber.
Bye.
I'll see you later.